Hey everyone, welcome back to the recap of the Walking Dead universe. We are here live every week to discuss the latest episodes. You can catch our recaps anytime, available on most podcast platforms. Get new and past episodes for free in the app of your choice, including YouTube. For those of you joining us live tonight, thanks for taking time out of your day to be here. I am Tamara Ford, and I love a good TV show and a good book, of course. So if you'd like to reach out to me, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at the Recap Pods. And if you're into books, you can find me at Shelf Addiction. Joining me is show co-host Lisa. Welcome, Lisa.
Hey Tamara, hey everyone. My name is Lisa Orban. I am an author and I'm also the founder of Indies United Publishing House, and I love all things pop culture. If you want to connect with me online, you can find me pretty much everywhere at Lisa Orban Author.
All right, so before we get going, we just want to remind you that we want your participation in this conversation. So if you are listening live on YouTube or Facebook, hit us up in the comments section. And if you're catching this on a replay, you can still comment on any platform or by using the voicemail link in the show notes. We do want to hear from you and possibly include your comments in future episodes. So if you are new to the podcast, we are laid back in our review style, right, Lisa?
Absolutely. This is a conversation, not a dissertation.
Always. No scene by scene breakdowns here. We jump around. Huge spoiler alert. If you're cool with that, this is the place for you. So we should jump right on in. Today we are talking about episode 11
Mm-hmm.
named Ophelia.
Yes. I'm going to say after the last three crap episodes, this one I kind of liked.
I did like this one. And when I was like just doing some Googling on this episode, I hadn't realized, okay, so two things were new to me. So Alicia's character, the actress, her name is
Uh-huh.
Alicia as well.
Oh,
It's
okay.
spelled a little differently, but she actually directed this episode.
Oh, nice.
Her first time directing, and it was this episode.
Well, she did a decent job.
Yeah, not bad at all. So I was like, oh, that's a fun tidbit.
Mm-hmm.
Now she has some other skills.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to say it was a great episode, but it was significantly better than the last two.
hmm Yeah, I would agree. I did like it, and I love that we got to see some characters we haven't really seen in a minute. What feels like a minute anyway.
Yeah.
And it was like a lot of little tidbits of action.
Mm-hmm.
And I found myself verbally reacting to what was on the screen a couple of times, which rarely happens nowadays.
Yeah. I am kind of wondering what is up with Morgan. He's just, I don't know what they're doing with Morgan's character, but I don't particularly like it.
No, I feel like the writers, they don't know what they're doing with him right now, or they're just putting him on the shelf for later. I don't know which. It's all
Yeah.
bad, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, they've got, I don't know. I mean, I think one of my big complaints, really, since we've gone down this path, since they've set off the nukes, and one of them is Strand, who's never been a great guy. He's always operated in these shades of gray.
hmm
Um, but at the same time, he was never evil. You know what I mean?
hmm
He was selfish. He was self-centered. He was, narcissistic.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, he did have some good things about him, and it's like they've written out all of his humanity. Since they started the whole Teddy arc, and Morgan, who's always been kind of this compassionate leader,
Hmm.
that put people first, is now just apparently wantonly using people, sending out, what's her, little girl there, in the first episode, and to get caught and everything else. And then, even talking about, the few brief times we've seen him, he's not leading. He's just, I don't even know what it is. I don't know. I don't really like how they're setting up Strand and Morgan.
Okay, yeah. I think with the Charlie thing, I don't think we ever got, well, for me, I didn't get clarity on if that was Charlie trying to do something slick or if he really sent her. Like, we didn't see that interaction.
We didn't, but I mean, it was,
Um,
Charlie mentioned several different times that Morgan had sent her out, and
yeah.
it was kind of touched on, in this episode, that she had been sent out by Morgan, and
Well, don't forget, Morgan has, like, I think he's more desperate now than he what has been in the past because now, a child that he has claimed as his own is gone, is
yeah,
under. So I feel like he definitely has the motivation to do things that he might not have done before
yeah,
to try to get access to the tower. Um, but like even in this episode, he was trying to get Lucinda, Lord,
Lucinda, no,
she
Lucy,
yeah, Lucy. He was trying to get her to like push Daniel along a little quicker,
mm-hmm,
right? We
mm-hmm,
need him, and I get it. And then she's like, "Excuse me," like Luciana, that's the name. Lord have mercy. So she's like, at what cost, right? You just want him to do this? And he's like, well, no, not really. But yeah, really.
mm-hmm,
So, I mean, I get it because he definitely can't do it alone. It's not something that it's just not possible. And I
yeah,
feel like he feels like time is of the essence, right? So, while I agree with you, I don't really like how they're writing for him right now.
mm-hmm,
It doesn't totally seem completely out of left field just because of his family being taken.
yeah. And but even like Luciana in this episode, she spent the entire episode being indignant with everyone. You know, stop using him. Stop using him. He's a very sick man. He's a very sick man. Don't lie to him. Don't blah blah blah. And then the end of the episode, ta-da!
You know
Um,
what? Like straight up. Now, did you anticipate that like I did? The
yeah,
minute Daniel started talking about how much focus he has when he is pursuing his daughter,
mm-hmm,
I was like, oh, don't do it. Right then, I'm like, don't do it, Luciana, don't do it. And I'm like, she's going to do it.
yeah. Well, and here's the thing. I really think I mean, because he made that little speech about she was now family. That
Hmm.
he would protect her like he had protected his daughter. And
Hmm.
I think if given a couple of more days, I don't know. I think he could have um refocused, because for her, she's now family. And the fact that he has this thing with Charlie too. Him and Charlie have a little bond going on.
Yeah.
And if he knew that she was being held, by Morgan, or not Morgan, but by Strand, I think those little pushes could have been enough to get him focused.
I don't know. I feel like maybe, but not consistently. Like to me, he kind of seems like someone who's starting to have dementia.
Yeah.
Like you're present and then you're not. You're in the past. You
Well,
know
as
what
I
I mean?
as
And
I
that's a
understand it,
liability.
how they're writing it is he has severe PTSD.
Yeah, but the way his memory is acting reminds me of that.
Yeah, but I mean and it is. I mean, I will say this: when it comes to PTSD, that is the the lack of lucidity, slipping back. into older memories, um, those kinds of things can can happen in severe PTSD. It's one of the symptoms. And um, so, I mean, at least they're playing that more or less, accurately.
Mm.
But, I mean, he could be refocused. And really the big thing though is when it comes to PTSD, it's not putting them in a high stress situation. It's de-stressing them and refocusing them, which they could have done without bringing his daughter into it.
Well, Lucy was trying to do that, right? She was
Yeah.
trying to do that by speaking Spanish with him, by playing memory games. It seemed like she was trying to provide that calming environment, right?
Mhm.
Um, but then he had to run out there on his own and like start this whole chain of events.
Right.
And now, after the fact, I believe that it wasn't a nice thing to do, but you have to kind of wonder like, Morgan was right. He has experience with Strand. He
Mhm.
knows how he operates. And everyone is feeling under the gun, especially now with those walkers out there that could just bust out of that dam.
Well,
Everyone
apparently
is,
someone's letting them out.
yeah, someone's letting them out, but they haven't want small amounts, right? But
Right.
when that thing burst open and they all get out, it's gonna be hell.
And I
So,
I don't think it's a dam. I actually I think it's a crater
okay,
from one
Crater,
of the yeah.
same, okay,
Mhm.
right.
Yeah, that's why
But
they're
the point is, when they're out, they don't want to be out there. They want to be in the tower.
yeah. And
So,
and again, I mean, and I get that part. Um, but at the same time, to Rebecca, that we don't know who's letting him out, but it was part of the little cage conversation right before um old boy died. Someone's letting them out. We don't know who. So, but yeah, but here's the thing though. So we already know that he takes being lied to about his daughter very seriously.
yeah,
Um, which means if they get into the tower and he doesn't find his daughter, there's gonna be hell to pay.
I
And
agree.
I mean, and
And
it's not just gonna be Lucy, it's gonna be Morgan and anyone else in his way, anyone that he feels betrayed him, and we know that he is a very dangerous person. So again, I mean, they're
well, I
essentially
don't know
playing
how he
Russian
can be
roulette.
mad at Morgan at this point,
Oh
unless
yeah,
at some point Lucy tells him what she's done. Because in this episode, we never saw Lucy come back and say, "Hey, this is why he's ready to help us."
right. Well, and I get that, but here's the thing: he's not gonna go around and ask, "Did you know?" That's not what he's gonna do. He's gonna assume everyone was in on it. And the thing of it is, everyone is going to have to be in on it because he's going to keep talking about Ophelia being in the tower.
Until the next moment and he forgets.
But he won't forget this.
Let's see. Rebecca says maybe seeing Madison again will remind Daniel that Ophelia died since she brought Ophelia to him when she died. Maybe that might pull him back to reality all the way.
Yeah, but
And
he's still going to be mad.
he is. He is going to be mad. And you know what? I'm okay with that. Cuz I like his character like doing things that's like, "Oh shit."
Yeah,
Like in the episode when he like threw that guy in the thing and I'm like, "Oh shit." Or when he sliced that guy's throat, I'm like, "Damn, Daniel, what are you doing?" I mean, I don't mind that character acting like that sometimes. And I feel like it's the worst of two, what's the best of two evils, right? What are you supposed to do?
and
It's a situation where you can say, well, let him have 2 weeks of therapy before we try to do this.
I generally try to operate on the premise of don't aggravate the cold-blooded killer. You know. I don't want I would not want Danielle mad at me. You know? I mean, and whether, and I know that Lucy is thinking that she's doing this for the greater good, and she is, but
Yeah.
again, it's not going to come without its consequences, and there will, and
And
we
I
all
think
know that
she
there's
knows
going to be
that.
consequences.
I think she fully knows what she's doing, and
She
I think
does.
she's fully aware of the consequences of what she's doing.
She does. I mean, you could tell. I mean, when
Yeah,
the look on her face when she was talking to him and everything else. I mean, she knows what the consequences are. I mean, she's, and I'm sure she weighed them, but I think she chose badly, and maybe I'll be proved wrong on this, but I mean, I when you are dealing with someone who is highly trained and volatile as he is right now, and we already know how he reacted to finding out that he had been lied to,
mhm,
and Luciana Luciana did that straight up to his face, lied,
she did. After
and
she got called family, she did. She did it.
exactly. So the
Yeah,
fact that he now calls her family and she lied to his face is going to hurt even more than, just some random stranger. You know what I mean? It's going to
absolutely.
it's going to be bad. And I think that there's going to be some they it's one of those things where they could win the battle but lose the war because of this.
Hmm. Okay, let's see what the audience thinks. You guys in the comments, put a 1 if you think Luciana did what she had to do and that was the right choice. Put a 2 if you think that was the wrong choice and it will have some dire consequences. It's going to have dire consequences anyway, but put a 2 if you think that was the wrong thing to do. I'm curious what you guys think.
I am too.
Yeah, because I agree. Like, it wasn't right, but I'm not sure it was wrong. Like, it wasn't the right thing to do, but I feel like it was necessary. And you got to pay for the choices you make, right? You got to pay for them. There's always a consequence for making choices, but sometimes when you don't feel like you have choices, you just got to do what you got to do.
Yep. Well, so far
Um,
we've got a 1 and a
and a
2.
2.
One, but still sad from Karina. And
Yeah.
Cleo says 2, he gonna kill her.
He might. He might, but she
Yeah,
might feel like it was worth it. Everyone else is safe. She might think
right.
it's worth
But
it.
the thing of it is depending on how lucid he is or how lucid he's not, it
Mhm.
might not stop at her. Like I said, he could take this out on everyone at the tower. And with his training and abilities, while they would stop him, I mean, he could take out a lot of them,
Mhm.
which is why I'm saying they might win the battle, but they could lose the war because of this.
Maybe.
Great, they've got the tower, but he killed 20 of them or 30 of them or whatever before, they caught him.
I don't even know if they'll win the battle at this point because Wes was disgusted by what she did.
Yeah, I
And
know.
he kicked rocks. He's like, "I'm out of here."
Mhm.
And we thought he was just going to walk away at first, and then
I
he
did.
shows up at the phone.
I knew he was going to.
You did? I didn't
Oh,
assume
yeah.
he would go there first cuz he hates Strand too.
I know he does, but the thing of it is he wants in that tower, and he now has something, that he can leverage
Mm. I'm
because
curious what he's going to do, what he's going to say.
they've got Victor motivated. They're using him, or
Mhm.
not Victor. Sorry, um, Daniel. They've got him tricked and motivated. They've got a cache of weapons, and they've got a new group of people that might be enough to take the tower.
You really think he's gonna, like, just toss them 100% under the bus like that? Like, just tell everything?
Yep, I do.
Huh.
I really do. And again again we're back to they might win the battle, but they may lose the war
Right.
because with him turning coat, you know, Strand's not going to be surprised at this point.
Mhm.
He's going to be prepared, which he's going to be, even more on guard. So I don't know. I mean, I mean, truthfully, I really don't like any of this storyline. I
And
think
you
it's
know what?
stupid.
This is a little bit of almost why I like the storyline is because it's not really clear what direction the story is going to go. It
Right.
could go right or left.
I mean, I guess what I'm saying is part of the reason I don't like it is it's stupid. I mean, I understand the tower is safe, whatever, but we know that these people can be out for periods of time. That they have the equipment to you know keep themselves safe. They can check for radiation. They can get the hell out of there. They can just leave the area.
Mhm.
And honestly, that is exactly what they should do. And if I was there, yeah, I'd pretty much be telling these people, fuck all this. I'm leaving. I'm going to pick a direction and I'm going to go east. I'm just going to keep going east.
You just better have the right have all the gear cuz you don't know what you're going to come across as far as radiation.
Right. But like I said, but they can check for radiation. So if the radiation starts going up, then you backtrack around. I mean, it's not going to be a straight line, but it's not
Yeah.
like they haven't figured out how to travel through this stuff,
Right.
and Strand's Tower is this really small, clear area, but it could change.
Mhm.
You get a they're not that far from the coast. They could get a hurricane that would stir all that stuff up. If they get a really big storm, it could pick up all that radiation that's been seeped into the ground and start spreading it all over the place.
They better not do anything like that. I'm ready. I want out of this world right now.
I know.
Period. So
And is
don't
it
like make it even worse.
I'm just saying, I mean, like I said, right now Strand's Tower is safe, but there's only like about a 5-mile distance around the circle where it's safe. And that's not very much, which means a tornado, a hurricane, um, severe weather. It could pick up enough of that, the contaminated soil and swish it all over the place. That's the bad thing. It's that's the bad thing about radiation. Once it gets into the ground, I mean, you're tracking it when you're going through it, and anything that churns it up raises the radiation levels
Mhm.
around the area. So while his tower right now is safe, if they're really looking at long-term survival, that's leaving the area. Period. It's not staying in these little pockets of safety because they won't stay that way.
That's counterintuitive to what Alicia is doing. She's going to find people and bring them back.
They need to get the hell out of Dodge. Yeah.
Yeah. So we have
And I'm
one more.
sure I'm sure the writers have a different theory and everything else. I'm just saying, for in a practical real world scenario, their really only viable option for long-term survival is to get the hell out of there. It's not
Mm,
taking that tower. That
mhm.
tower is a waste of time, manpower, effort, people. It just is.
Okay, so we have Rebecca that weighed in on our poll. She says one, Daniel will understand that they need his help. Hopefully, he
Nope.
can start with Strand.
Oh, he could definitely start with Strand, and he may kill him.
Hmm.
Although I think for everything they're doing, it's still going to be a setup between a final battle between Morgan and Strand, just because.
Yeah, that's what the cover art looks like. I mean, all indicators look like it's a showdown between those two, right?
Hmm.
Everything that they have tried to make us see, it looks like that. So,
Right.
um,
So I
yeah, I don't
mean,
know.
he might get him into the tower, um, but ultimately, I think it's going to be a personal, nose to nose throwdown between Morgan and Strand in the end.
And Alicia somehow thrown in the mix of that. She's going to have a big role to play, I think, in the final, um, I guess, story arc of this.
Mm.
I don't know how yet, but because I mean, if they just use her to bring people back and that's it, that's lame.
Yeah,
I
it
gotta
is.
believe they're gonna use her in a more interesting way than just that.
Right. Well, I mean, and then as much as I hate to say it, we still have to factor in Madison and what role she's going to play in this upcoming little drama.
Mhm. I think we're going to see her at the very end of the season in the season finale or something. After the towers won or lost, right? Whatever is the result of that, that's when Madison is going to show up.
Yeah. So,
And yeah,
as a
maybe
number,
she,
even.
huh?
As a number, even.
Yeah, as a number, maybe. Yeah.
Well, the little snip they showed there telling her their name wasn't her name.
Yeah.
So,
Or another name. Who knows? Who knows? I'm curious to see how that's going to go too. But yeah, I really honestly, I had like, even though, we are complaining a little bit about like the what they're doing plot wise,
yeah.
I think the actors did a good job in this
Yeah.
episode. I think it was interesting to watch. I liked, all the things that Daniel was doing when he was like,
Mhm.
I like him in that state. I do. I'm like, you know, kill them all and sort them out later.
I'm going to kill them all, let God sort them out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I can't, I like that. Honestly, it's a different, way of seeing him, and the actor is believable. I
Yeah.
buy it.
Oh yeah, I mean, like I said, compared to the other episodes, I absolutely loved this one. This was very palatable.
Mhm.
Um, I I don't agree with how the season is going, but overall, I mean, within the storyline, I do think that this is so far the best one we've seen.
Yeah. I hope that, it keeps going in this direction, because I do feel like with this back half of this season so far, it's been a little whiplashy, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
been crappy, okay, good,
Yeah,
So it's like, let's kind of get some consistency here, and let's get a rhythm that we all like.
yeah. Hey, I do have an interesting rumor to share.
Okay.
Um, I guess I was reading that there's some rumors that after this particular story arc on the walk or Fear the Walking Dead,
Mhm.
they're going to do another time jump.
Yeah, we've been
And
waiting on that. I hope it's true.
but here's the little tidbit. There's a chance that Melissa McBride might show up. Carol.
Hmm.
Uh, they've been there was a couple hints dropped that because they were saying that even though Carol is not going to be joining Daryl because she doesn't want to go to Europe, essentially.
Yeah,
Um,
we saw that this week. A lot of stories were saying that.
mhm.
Yeah.
But I guess the showrunners and stuff were reassuring people. They're like, "Oh no, please remember we have other shows coming out, and she could be showing up." With the the hint was that she could end up reuniting with Morgan.
Now, I did not hear that rumor. Where did you see it? I didn't hear that. Where'd you see it?
Honestly, I
Yeah.
don't remember. I read about 16 articles this morning.
Okay. Hmm.
But it, like I said, the hint was is that she could show back up, at least briefly, on Fear the Walking Dead. And part of what they were talking about was the fact that she does have this contract, so it doesn't necessarily mean just because that she's not going with Daryl doesn't mean that we're not going to be seeing her popping up in other episodes.
Yeah, like maybe season 8 or
Uh-huh.
whatever. Yeah, I
So,
mean, I guess anything is possible, to be honest. Because we kind of ruminated before about the possibility of TWD actors sliding into this other show.
mm-hmm,
And that could include her. You never know.
mm-hmm,
I mean, I
yeah,
don't see her being a permanent part of this cast,
no,
but I could see her coming and going or having some kind of interaction. I mean, I wouldn't hate it, I don't think.
right. Well, and the other rumor I read was that the reason why Daryl is going over to Europe is because that's where Rick is.
Yeah, I saw that. I don't know what I think about that.
Yeah, I don't either,
And
but
how's he gonna freaking get to Europe?
CRM.
Mm, So that means that we're going to have, well, for that to happen, the CRM would actually have to show up on TWD again in a major way.
Either that or the beginning of the Daryl spinoff you know, could be him meeting up with the CRM for in some capacity.
Or that. I don't know. I don't know.
The big question. I mean, because the big thing is why would Daryl abandon Rick's kids and how would he get to Europe? Because at this point, I mean, Christ, they're having they have a tough time, crossing, rivers. So, I mean, and they do have that one trolley over at Oceanside, but I'm not sure I would trust it for an ocean voyage.
I wouldn't.
You know,
No,
so
thank you. I
so
mean,
there's
we've seen the CRM has helicopters, but do they
mhm.
have jets that can make cross
Well,
the
even if they don't
Atlantic?
have jets, I mean, they could have an ocean liner,
Yeah, they
or
could.
they could have a small warship. I mean, they have a lot of military equipment, so they could have salvaged some naval stuff.
Lord, just make it make sense.
Yeah, I
If
know.
they do this and it sound ridiculous, I'm gonna be like, okay, this sounds ridiculous. I'm gonna call you out because
Right.
this is some bullshit. So I guess as long as it fits the story and it makes sense and it's just, and yeah, you do have to explain, well, what happened to Rick's kids?
Mhm.
Right? Why are you just gonna leave them with who?
Right.
Where?
Because again, I mean, there has to be some really compelling motivation for Daryl to leave them because he's become their surrogate father. You know, I mean, he's become their father in the same way that Michonne, became Judith's mother.
Yeah, Michonne took off to find him, so now
Hmm.
Daryl's gonna take off to find him. I
Well,
mean,
I mean, and we did, in one of the little teaser videos, we see Daryl holding Rick's gun.
yeah.
So, there's at least that little hint. What I was really hoping for, of course, was, that we would at least see that Rick would show up, in sometime in this last season because he was seen in Atlanta and was seen with the cast members, not on set, but out and about. So, I mean, and obviously, for him to do a little bit, I mean, they could do that in a couple of days. They could do it in a day if they were really dedicated, depending on how big his role was.
Oh yeah. I mean,
So,
not I won't give up hope on that just yet. We
and I'm
still
not
have,
either, but
yeah.
yeah, I saw that and I'm like, well, thought I might share. I'm sure
Hmm.
a lot of you guys have seen the same thing, but there's a lot of rumors flying around.
I don't even trust, like, okay, because the rumors are just that, rumors, right? Nobody
Right.
from no showrunners are confirming anything. AMC sure is not talking about, they only recently, people were ruminating and talking about Carol's character not being on that show before the official word came out she wasn't going to be on that show.
Hmm.
Um
Now, I
so
mean, it is official from the showrunners that
right.
to expect Carol to be in something else because her contract didn't explicitly say it had to be this, but anywhere in the Walking Dead universe.
Hmm.
So,
Okay. Well,
they're
that means, honestly, that could mean Negan and what's her face show. It could be there
yeah,
too.
exactly. It could, but I do hope whether she shows up or not, I do hope that there is a time jump on
Yeah.
Fear the Walking Dead. It has been a while, and they're running really slow because, well, take example, when Charlie first showed up, she was actually the age she was on the show,
Mhm.
you know, and but they have been moving time so slow that right now she's what 16 and her character's 13.
Mhm.
So they've been really, you know, dragging these seasons out. So
Right.
they're really, I mean, they're due for a time jump.
Absolutely. And Karina noted they can do a Tales episode to fulfill that
Mhm.
Yeah, I guess they could. Yeah, they could. Like tell a little short story of A to B.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I do believe I thought about that too, but with the way that Carol's contract is, I mean, they're gonna want to get more than one episode out of her, so
Yeah, I mean, even if she's reoccurring on various shows, they
mhm.
could do something like that where she just comes back ever so often, like, "Oh, I'm on the road full time. I don't settle anywhere." And then she
And
just
I
comes
can see
into
that Carol's character, honestly.
Mhm. But for that to happen, and if she jumped more than one show, all of these shows would have to be in the same timeline finally.
Mhm. And you know what? I would be okay with them really jumping ahead on Fear, you
Mhm.
know, even if it was just, "Oh, bye, Rebecca." She said she had to go,
Yeah, I know.
with a sad face. Um, "We'll miss you." But, I mean, I could see even if it was a 5-year time jump, you know, or a
Mhm.
3-year time jump just you know, to get them caught up because, as our time has gone on, I mean, they've gotten further and further behind us, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, I really think it's time for them to and honestly, I'm really tired of all this radiation crap. I just wanna jump ahead.
I know, it's not that interesting of a storyline, and it's exhausting. It's
Mhm.
like it's dragging, it's slow overall, right?
Yeah,
Overall. It's not interesting enough to be fully engaged with the whole bomb radiation thing. It's
yeah.
like, "Come on,
Well,
enough already."
because what was it? I think someone was saying that the whole Teddy arc all took place within, like, a month, 2 months? So
Mhm.
that whole this whole thing, that whole season was just this really short period of time,
Mhm.
and they've been doing that a lot. So I really think, I mean, our characters are aging up, especially the younger characters like Charlie. I mean, she's now 3 years older than her character.
I know.
When the character started out, they were she was the same age as her actual age matched up with her character age. So I mean
Yeah.
that's how far that they just keep lagging behind.
And that's also another reason why I wonder if they're actually gonna kill her. Because how long I mean, because kids grow, right?
Mhm.
They grow. And without a time jump, if they don't do the time jump right away, she can't pull off 13. She can't.
No.
So they would have to that's another reason why a time jump would help because they
Mhm.
could keep her alive some kind of way and she could still be on the show because if they jump 3 years or 4 years or even 5 years, she could pull off being 5 she could pull off 18 or
Mhm.
19.
Well, and if you think about it, the baby, at this point the baby's only supposed to be about what, 6 months old,
Yeah.
you know? And that so I mean they're going to have to do something because I mean, I guess they can keep just replacing the baby because we don't really see it a lot. But at some
Speaking of
point,
which, I hope that kid isn't crying bloody murder next episode
oh god, me too. She's got some good
because
lungs on her. I'll give her that.
I know, and I just when I was starting up last week's episode, I accidentally went back to that one episode where the kid was just crying and like unbelievably in the beginning of the episode, and I'm like, "Oh
Hmm.
my god, that is so awful. I never want to hear that again." Oh
Yeah,
no, Karina says be prepared.
prepare. I mean, I gotta tell you, as a parent, all kids have a cry that like travels up your spine and puts a spike into your brain.
Mhm.
It's the cry that makes parents crazy. I don't know what to do. I've fed you, I've watered you, I've changed your diaper, I've rocked you, I've sang to you. Please shut up.
I've
And
heard that cry from my nieces and nephews, and you know what I wanna do? Cover my ears and run out the house.
I know, I mean,
Like, I
babies
can't.
can be. Oh man, they can try the best of us. And now I have met some kids that don't really do that, but this baby is not one of them. This baby is, it is a crier.
This baby will get you killed in the apocalypse. Cause this kid is gonna be screaming forever. And I would just love that kid to instantly be like 6 or 7 years old.
Yeah, I mean that would be a nice thing too. I mean if they can resolve whatever is going on and do a time jump, if Charlie survives, she's once again back in her own age ish group,
Hmm.
and they can age up this baby so that it's a little more interesting,
Hmm.
you know. And you're right, Cleo. Judith didn't. I mean, I
For
have.
those listening, Cleo says Judith didn't cry on the road.
Yeah. Sorry, I thought. Yeah, you're right. Um, but I mean, and honestly, it kind of does surprise me a little bit because I mean, I do know that, believe it or not, in a lot of trauma situations, a lot of high tension, babies tend to get very quiet.
Mm,
Um, and but again, the part of the setup for the baby was it was hungry. They didn't have anything to feed it. There was no formula, there was no milk, there's no mother to nurse it. So it was starving, which would make sense on why it was crying.
mm-hmm.
At the same time, probably should have stopped crying quite that much just because it was getting weak. But
Yeah,
that baby can cry. I'll give it that.
absolutely. And so, next episode, I just have this feeling it's going to be a whole bunch of Strand and
Yeah.
baby. So,
I mean, I did see the preview for next week, and it's someone takes the baby, and Strand has an absolute meltdown when he goes in the nursery, and the baby's gone. And then,
oh
oh yeah, and now there's a manhunt looking for the baby.
Lord, who
So
took the baby?
I don't know.
That should be
Honestly,
interesting.
I think it was personally, and this is just from watching this little tiny slice of the preview.
Hmm.
I think it was uh what's his name's dad, um the one who's trying to get on Strand's good side.
Oh, Dory Sr.?
Yeah, Dory Senior. I think he did it.
So, like, he took the baby and then he's going to be like, oh, I'll find the baby.
Uh huh.
Surprise.
Yeah, I think that's
Mm,
exactly it. I think he's trying to do some kind of setup thing that make Strand think that there's some conspiracy thing, and
mm-hmm.
I think John Dory's. I think he's the one that actually took the baby. But again,
Mm.
that's just from that little 30-second uh preview into next for next week. So I could be completely off on this, guys. I'm just telling you that's my theory right now.
You know what, though? You could be wrong, but it also makes sense because we just heard in the last week's episode, he wants to win his trust.
Yeah.
He wants to do it quickly.
Uh-huh.
So that would be the way to do it.
Yeah, and that was my thought. He steals the baby, makes it look like, somebody else within the tower. For honestly, if I was Dory and I could make it work, um, I'd set up, make it look like Howard did it.
Oh, that would be awesome.
I mean, think about it. I mean, if you're gonna do it, if you can set someone up, maybe hide the baby, while everyone's out looking, basically sneak the baby into Howard's room and shove her into a corner or something.
Wow. But what would be the win for him doing that? Like, why would he do it? That's the only
Okay,
thing
so if
that.
he if he could find the baby there with how in Howard's room,
Mhm.
one, he's getting rid of Howard, because if he can make it look like Howard was trying to getting ready to sneak the baby out of the tower to take him back to Morgan.
Right, but
And
I guess I asked that wrong. But why would Howard do that? For Morgan, I mean not Morgan, for Strand to believe, like let's say hypothetically that's what the plan is. For
mhm.
him to believe that Harold would actually do that, like I just feel like he's been such an obedient soldier. It would take a lot to make
It
him
might,
feel like he actually did that.
but then again, if you think about it, Strand is a very paranoid person. So the closer you get to Strand, the more you earn his trust, the easier it
Mhm.
is for you to lose it. Because Strand always assumes the worst of people. He really does.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if Dory could figure out a way to make Howard look guilty for whatever reason, um, it would be killing two birds with one stone. It would be getting Howard out of the way and putting Dory in the position to take his spot.
That is true. Facts. That is true.
And as we know from this show, nothing has to make sense for it to be.
Yeah, none of these shows have to actually make sense when things happen. They just
Exactly.
happen.
They just happen.
They just
So,
happen.
so like I said, I mean that may be completely way off base. But I do have a feeling that Dory is at least somehow involved in this.
Mhm. Mhm.
So,
Hmm. Okay, I think that's a good theory, honestly. I'm not mad at it. So,
yay.
and yeah, maybe we'll see Wes in next episode. Maybe we'll get something with him since he's trying to get into the tower this
Mhm.
week. Um,
They do show him in the preview too,
okay.
briefly.
I'm bad
He's
at watching the previews. I wish they would just show them, like, you know how after the show on AMC Plus, they have the little part from the showrunner.
mhm.
I wish they would just show the preview, like, in between them
They
or
do.
what.
At least on my
I never see it. I'm like, "Why don't I don't ever see the preview?" Well,
yeah,
I
because
see it sometimes, but not every time.
yeah, because on mine it's just as soon as the show's over, it goes right to the preview and then it goes to the showrunner.
Mine's doesn't. Like, mine's go straight to the showrunner,
Hmm.
and then sometimes I'll have a preview at the end and sometimes not.
Huh. I mean, there's a lot of shows like on the AMC Plus and the other streaming services, and it does frustrate me because that they're doling them out weekly, but they don't give you previews, like on
No.
cable stuff. And
I'm about
but
to complain to AMC. Why is mine messed up? Because you
yeah,
know
so
that little sound that they have for the intro to the showrunner's part, like
uh-huh.
it goes off, and then it makes a little sound that tells you, oh, this is about to start, and then the showrunner starts talking, and they do that thing, and then sometimes I get distracted while they're talking, depending on how boring they sound.
Yeah,
um, and then I watch to the end, and sometimes there's a preview there, and sometimes there isn't.
yeah.
Now
Karina says that hers is her AMC Plus is
I
like mine.
know.
Maybe it's the
Hmm.
way you have. Maybe it's your preferences. Maybe it's how you have your preferences set up.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to investigate. Cleo sees it too. That's messed up. I'm not. That's not fair. I'm like, I would watch it if I saw it because it just ends and then it just goes back to the menu. So I'm like,
Um, Try looking into your AMC Plus preferences, and
yeah,
maybe you clicked a box so that it skips them.
maybe. I don't know. I'm gonna investigate
Okay.
because it should be doing that too consistently.
Yeah,
I don't know.
because I see mine consistently, and apparently,
And so you guys
these
are
guys do
seeing
too.
them before the clip of the
Yep.
from the showrunner, so
Uh
it's
huh.
in between.
Uh huh.
Huh.
It doesn't run through the whole Um, it'll run like the first 10 seconds or so of the end credits, and then it flips over to the previews.
Okay, I'm gonna pay special attention because I like the last two I didn't see. I didn't see it
Mm-hmm.
at all. So I don't know.
Poor
Okay.
Tamara, she's being left out.
I guess. I mean, I don't know. That's my luck lately. I'm telling you, just shit.
Mm, I'm
But
sorry, dear.
I know I need something new to happen so I get all the luck. We need to change
Well,
the.
how do you watch AMC? Because I watch it through um, Amazon.
I used to watch it through Amazon, but then they had a deal through the app. So I
Uh-huh.
turned the Amazon off and now I watch it through the AMC Plus app on my Google TV.
Hmm.
And that
I
app
don't know.
actually gave me an issue when I tried to log into it. I had to like reach out to AMC customer service because I couldn't get into the app. Like there was something funky going on with it on the
Hmm.
Google TV
Well,
that
maybe that's the problem right there. It's because, hey guys, how are you watching it? Are you watching it through the AMC Plus app, or are you watching it through another streaming service?
yeah, cuz I mean and I know like the app is made differently on different devices. You know, it
Hmm.
should look the same, but sometimes it's not.
Right.
So, I don't know. I'm going to
Okay,
investigate.
Karita says hers is through the app too, so it must be something with your how you got your preferences set up.
Yeah. Boo. Okay. Um let's see. Is there anything else we should cover about from today's fear episode?
Not really. I mean, it was good, but it was pretty much all about Daniel and his you know quest to find his dead daughter.
Mhm.
So I think we pretty much hit on all the highlights. I can't think of anything that we missed.
Oh, yeah, wait, we did forget that well we should at least mention that, all of Arno's people
Oh yeah,
came back
right.
with
Yeah, that's true. That's
Luciana.
true.
Like they all just said okay.
Yeah, I really did. Honestly, I'm a little surprised how easy it was. Once he was dead, everyone was like, "Okay, yeah, I guess we'll just go with you."
Mhm.
Um, I did think that was a little simplified,
Mhm.
but you know, again, it's as we discussed a little bit ago, they do all sorts of things that don't necessarily make any sense to further the storyline.
Yeah,
So
Cleo says and I don't trust them.
I don't know.
Yeah, that like you said that was so easy. They just flipped the script and was like, "Okay,
It
sure."
it well, especially since these are Teddy's people.
Mhm.
The ones that are coming back with them, these aren't ones that were shoved in there, willy nilly. These were the true believers, the ones that Teddy left behind because he thought that they would be the best to repopulate, to
Mhm.
restart the world. So these guys were, other than Alicia and the senator's aide that was hiding, everyone else in that building was a true believer. And yeah, so the one woman did say, well, Teddy would have wanted it this way. Well, maybe not.
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, they are back to following Alicia, which is what Teddy wanted. Um,
right.
but again, I don't know. I thought it was just the fact that no one, tried to fight him. No one, they're all just standing there unarmed.
Or no one defected, like, "Hey, you just
Yeah.
killed this guy. Why
Hmm.
should we go with you?"
Exactly.
Yeah.
Alicia's almost killed us before. Why should we go with you now?
Mhm.
Kind of thing. I mean, I don't know. I just thought that seemed a little too easy.
Yeah, it was easy. Because now they're like, "Oh, we have all these weapons, and guess what? We have all the people to carry
People,
them. Yay.
uh-huh. Look at that.
Problem
S-
solved."
serendipity.
Yes, absolutely. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens. It might be some mutiny going on. Who
Uh,
knows?
suspension of disbelief, man.
Right?
I mean, because at this point, Arnold's people outnumber Morgan's.
Yeah, until Alicia comes back with whatever mysterious people she's going to bring.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, you like whatever.
And boy, there was some lack of enthusiasm there, wasn't there? Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, they're all now on the sub. They know where the sub is now, and they've got all of the good weapons. So you know, I don't know. I mean, again, I don't know this whole thing. Let's just do a time jump and just get the hell out of this
Jump us out of
apocalypse.
it. Maybe they will. We just have to get through the rest of the back half of the season.
And then jump is especially if they kill Charlie. Let's jump 10 years. I
Mhm.
mean, The Walking Dead did it,
Yeah.
or was it 10 years? It was a big jump. It was like
Yeah,
five.
there was a chunk and then chunk not chunk, it was a chunk and then it was another, like, smaller
Right,
jump. They did a few, but, one was big, one was kinda small.
right. But honestly, at this point, I would be happy if they did like a 10-year jump and
Mhm,
and got more in line with Fear the Walking Dead.
mhm.
5 years. You're right, Cleo. 'Cause I'm going.
Yeah,
Was it 10 years? No, it can't be because Judith would be way too young then. Um, but yeah, I really think that they need to get out of this rut. We have been grinding through this time period with them for 3 years now, and they've gone forward about 6 months.
I know, it's very slow moving.
And I
Yeah,
really think, like I said, 10 year. I mean, 5 years would be great. 10 years would be better. Just really, I mean, get us
yeah,
away from this nuclear fallout situation.
and TWD is taking big leaps. Like, even with this season, they jumped ahead 6 months at one point.
Yeah.
They were like, "Oh, now let's go back and show you, like, kind of the things that led up to this point." And
Hmm.
they did that in a few episodes, it wasn't the whole season.
Right.
So, they've been taking, like, these leapfrogs,
Hmm.
since that 5-year jump.
And I really think if they jumped ahead, 5 years, 10 years, like I said, would be better in my opinion. That way we can get, if this baby survives, now it's around Judith's age, which means it can be an actual character. They can, shake things up. People can actually look more their honest age. Um, and it gets them out of this quagmire of stuff that they've moored themselves to this last 3 seasons,
Mhm.
where we've just slow walked through everything, you know.
Like walking in, like, deep water.
Yeah, I mean, because if you think about it, at this point, so going back to when they met up with Virginia, all right, Grace was pregnant,
Right.
all right, so that whole thing throughout that entire time, Grace was pregnant. So it took place in like less than 7 months. And then with this baby and everything else. So really in the last 3 years, they've gone maybe a year.
Yeah, because they did jump what did we say it was? Was it, like, 3 months between the seasons? When the bomb went off and then when we picked up this season, wasn't it 3 months we said?
Yeah, maybe about 3 months.
So they did a little skip.
A little, yeah, but like I said, so, maybe on the outside 15 months,
Mhm.
but not much more than that,
Mm.
because we've got the baby at about, what, 4 months maybe? I think is what they said the last time they mentioned how old it was. So, and it was born shortly after Grace miscarried. So, we're talking, yeah, about 11, 12 months right there. It's been a year. They've
Yeah.
traversed a whole year in the last three.
That's not very long. Not at all.
No,
Well,
they've
I hope
really.
we
I mean,
get what we want.
they've got to step it up. And again, like I said, when Charlie was introduced, she was her character's age, and now she's 3 years ahead. So I mean, they're going so slow. They've got to pick up the pace.
I agree. And I hope they will. I mean, there's so many reasons why it's a good idea to do that. So they might. They might.
Hmm.
We will
So
find out.
I hope so. Fingers crossed, man.
Yeah. Okay, I think we're done today. What do you think?
I think we are done.
All right, you guys, thanks so much for tuning in live with us. We appreciate you guys for being here. And if you are listening to the recap and you are still listening, we appreciate you as well for listening to the whole episode. So before you exit, please sure to hit the like button and follow and subscribe on wherever you're listening to us from. We appreciate you, and we will catch you guys next week. Take care, guys.
Bye bye.